Note to self, actually press the stream button. When you say you're going live, actually go live. That's kind of important if you want to be a streamer. Pro tip. All right. Good evening, everybody. I had this song stuck in my head the other day. There's so, like, little music in this game, but, like, this song is so nice. Just the theme song is just so, like, aw. Oopsie. Wait. Okay, there we go. I never actually sat here and listened to it play. I was ever just like listen to a little bit of it and then started the game. But I think I'm getting close to the end of the game, so now would be a good time maybe to actually just sit here and enjoy the music for once. Okay, and then I think there's where it loops. Because there's no more percussion. Anyway, when we left off, we just reached this nonsense. We're at the Garnet Mines, and we have reason to believe that Nessa and Corvus have kidnapped Evan, and have taken him to the mines. I'm not sure how we reached that conclusion. Like, I'm pretty sure I know that, like, yeah, like, it's pretty obvious that Nessa and Corvus kidnapped Evan. I don't know how we decided that they took him to the mines. But sure, whatever, we'll go with it. Maybe there was a leap that maybe there was just a gap in the information that I received. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Anyway, so we're here now. And also probably Evan is most likely his life is in danger. Right. So, the abandoned Garnet Mine looks stark and desolate in the moonlight. Debris and forgotten equipment litter the area. There's rubble completely obstructing the entrance. The rubble does look fresh. It could be that Nessa and Corvus did enter the mine from here. Jack is here. Oh yeah, and also Albert is a German spy. Which, I mean, that's probably not surprising to anybody. Jack is trying his best to use the old shovel to clear the debris from the mine entrance. Piles of rubble surround the buried entrance of the mine. You can see an old discarded plunger detonator amongst the debris. There's a reel of wire near some bushes. The reel of wire still looks pretty good, considering it's been outside for years. The plunger detonator has been weathered by the elements and looks very worn, but it might still work. There's only one way to find out. The shovel looks pretty well worn, but sturdy enough for Jack to be able to use it. I hope it holds together long enough for us to get inside the Garnet Mine. A solitary soldier pine stands guard at the abandoned mine entrance. Is there a lake? Oh yeah. The surface of the distant lake shimmers in the moonlight. I'm trying to dig out this rubble and not break this old shovel in two while I do it. If you can figure out a better way, I'm all ears. Otherwise, come help me dig. You take the reel of wire. I wonder wonder if I can figure out a faster way to clear this rubble. Oh no. Disclaimer. The developer of this game assumes no responsibility or liability for any errors or omissions in any processes depicted, particularly dangerous ones involving explosives. Do not attempt anything in this game in real life. Julia going, I don't actually know how explosives work. Don't try this. I'm just making a guess. Don't do this yourself if you have the opportunity to do so. Don't. I now have a plunger detonator, wire, blasting cap, and a stick of dynamite. I wonder if I could rig this up to blast the mine entrance open. Oh, Nancy. You are not a professional demolitionist. Rig up an explosive to blast rubble from the mine entrance. Alright. This mine entrance was blasted shut decades ago, but some of this rubble looks fresh. Mines are dangerous enough places at the best of times, but an abandoned mine at night? With bad people possibly lurking inside? This doesn't look good, Nancy. Why wasn't Nathan at the meeting with Ranger Murdoch? Well, he's not really supposed to visit here. Not without a pass from the Indian agent of his reservation. No one from the reservation is allowed to leave the reservation without the agent say so. They risk losing Indian status. It's ridiculous. That's why Nathan made himself scarce. Nathan's been an incredible help. I don't know what we'd do without him. Oh, I mean Ranger Murdoch? He went off looking for the bathroom, I think. We're not at the house anymore, Jack. I'm real scared for Mr. Richards, Nancy. Who knows what Nessa and Corvus are capable of? I underestimated Nessa, maybe because she and Mr. Richards are family, but greed is a powerful thing. He's a straight-up villain in my books, no better than Nessa. I bet they had this all planned out from the minute they set foot in the lodge. What do you mean? Nessa and Mr. Richards never got along, but back when the lodge and land seemed worthless, that wasn't a problem. Once there was even the possibility of riches, Nessa turns up like a bad penny, and I don't think she was interested in Sharon. That guy, I never felt like he was on the level, but let's focus on the task at hand. Dynamite can seem pretty scary, but unless you're extremely incautious, it's unlikely it would explode on its own. Blasting caps are needed to set off dynamite, have to stick them right in the end. Not to mention a charge from a plunger detonator needs to be sent to the cap through a detonating cord. That being said, I wouldn't be all that comfortable walking around with a stick of dynamite in my pocket. Ha, right. Queen Valenice agrees. That there's a plunger detonator, sometimes called a blasting machine. Once you got a bunch of dynamite with the blasting cap inserted in it, you'd attach the cap to the plunger with a special wire called detonating cord. Pushing down on the plunger creates an electric charge that gets sent down the wire to the dynamite. The blasting cap gets set off, which in turn sets off the dynamite. Pa was a miner. He dealt with that stuff all the time. Cool. I'm learning things. Blasting caps are what set dynamite off. They got small explosive charges in them. The charge gets sent down a detonating cord into the cap, which then causes the dynamite to explode. Without blasting caps, dynamite is unlikely to detonate on its own. I wouldn't call it safe, but safer than it might be otherwise. That reel of wire looks like detonating cord. It's been out here for a real long time. I wouldn't be surprised if it's faulty. Probably junk. The wire would be inserted into a blasting cap that would be inserted into a bundle of dynamite. The other end would be cut and would be inserted into a plunger detonator. Then you'd push down on the plunger and then... kaboom! From a safe distance, ideally. You peer at the stick of dynamite, wondering if it will be powerful enough to clear the rubble. I hope so. It's possible that I could set up an explosive to clear this rubble. If I insert a blasting cap into the dynamite, then the wire to the blasting cap, and then cut the wire and insert that end into the plunger detonator, that could work. You flush with pride, realizing that your childhood curiosity and your father's job as a dynamiter for construction companies has suddenly become useful. Dad will be proud. The plunger detonator has been weathered for many years outside. The wood is desiccated and splitting, and the screws are rusting. Ew. Okay. Let's make this happen. You carefully insert the blasting cap into the dynamite. You stick the end of the wire into the blasting cap, which has been inserted into the dynamite. I'm all set. I just need to cut the wire from the reel and insert the cut end into the plunger detonator. I don't have wire cutters right now, and you don't see any here. Oh, okay. I wonder where I could get a pair of wire cutters. I'm so close. Jack, do you have any? Would you happen to have any wire cutters, Jack? I do, actually. Perfect. May I borrow those? Sweet. Sure thing. Here you go, Nancy. Wire cutters. Thank you, Jack. Thanks. Jack's wire cutters. They look sharp. The wire cutters aren't that interesting. Sure they are. Using the wire cutters, you snip the wire from the reel. You insert the wire into the plunger detonator. The explosive is rigged. It's time to set it off. Jack, I would need you to get out of the way, please. Well, of course, I also need to see if I can blow myself up. Jack, I'm ready to set the explosive charge. Got it, Nancy. Give me a second. Ready! You carefully place the ray dynamite close to the rubble. Okay, we're all set. Jack is lying awkwardly on the rubble, grimacing but trying to put on a brave face. He's not really lying, he's standing there. Here goes. Yes, good. Nancy? Whoops, maybe step back a wee bit. Where would you like to take the plunger? Okay. I've taken the plunger and placed it out of harm's way. Fortunately, the wire is long enough. Here goes nothing. That was a bit anticlimactic. Well, it was only one stick of dynamite after all. Yeah, one stick can only do so much. Okay. Oh, but I guess... Oh, okay. You and Jack have managed to create a Nancy-sized hole in the rubble. I think I can squeeze through. It's your move, Nancy. Can I leave? Oh, I can't. You don't need the plunger detonator anymore. I'm using this old shovel. If If you've got anything else you can help dig with, I'd really appreciate it. My back is already starting to hurt. This wire would be useful if I could rig up an explosive to clear the rubble, but I don't think I have the necessary materials, and I don't see everything I need here. Maybe there is something back at the lodge. Oh, that's fun. If you don't have everything, I guess you can go back to the lodge and get it? I wonder how you do that. I'm worried about the headlamp on that automobile. Nathan's good at fixing it, but if it goes out away from the lodge... There's now a small hole in the rubble. I think I might be able to enter the garnet mine this way. Unfortunately, Jack won't fit. Maybe he can follow later. Alright, I can fit through this opening. Nancy, this is really dangerous. Let's widen this hole some more so I can go too. Evan's in danger. There's no time to lose. You keep working on the rubble and follow when you can. Okay, Nancy, you're the boss. You be careful, you hear? I will, I promise. That barely looks like a hole at all. Wait, before you go, it's gonna be dark as night in there. Darker even. Take this lantern. Sweet. Jack lights the lantern and hands it to you. I've got another one, don't you worry. You're not the only one with big pockets. Good luck, kiddo. Thanks, Jack. Sweet, Jack is also an adventure game protagonist. You squeeze through the small hole in the rubble and enter the mine. Oh, wow! Seeing the lantern's light reflected brilliantly on the thousands of red crystals embedded in the walls, you're suddenly reminded of why you traveled to Crimson in the first place. If the situation wasn't so dire, you'd be dazzled by this cave of natural wonders. Instead, the red gleams look like blood is beating on every surface, just waiting to fall. You shiver. Toronto feels like it's 1,000,000 kilometers and 1,000,000 years away. Oh dear, it's so dark in here. I need to figure out which way Nessa and Corvus have taken Mr. Richards, if indeed they came this way at all. The garnet mine's interior is much cooler than the outside. The air feels stale and still. You're grateful for the lantern's light, though the warm glow quickly gets swallowed by the darkness. Oh, wow. The interior of the mine is dark as night. Darker, actually. The lantern light doesn't extend very far, but the rocks nearest you are absolutely chock full of large red crystals and smaller white ones. The path slopes downward and is covered in dust and loose rocks. Achoo! You're surrounded by rocks and rock walls, studded by red and white crystals. It's so beautiful in here, though a bit scary, too. Ooh. The lantern light illuminates some heavy-duty industrial equipment, a bucket, and a shovel. The floor under the machine is littered with discarded rocks. This is definitely a rock crusher. A jaw crusher, to be exact. That doesn't sound pleasant. There's an old shovel stuck deep into the ground. Looks like it was used to feed garnets into the hopper to be coarsely crushed. You get a good look at the machinery. It's covered in a thick layer of dust and clearly hasn't been used or even touched in years. The floor of the mine is covered in countless shoeprint impressions that are leading in multiple directions, preserved in a thick layer of dust. Most of these must have been made decades ago by the miners who used to work here. It's an odd feeling to see these shoeprints, almost like looking back into the past. You also notice small piles of discarded rocks under and around a large machine. It looks like those rocks are related to whatever the machine does. I think it might be a crusher. You see a boulder near one of the leaning wooden support beams that looks like it might be a good candidate for a sample. Wow, look at the size of that red crystal. Wait, do I still have a... Oh yeah. I have a pick. I have a hammer. Right, yeah. Oh, look, it's a bucket. Oops. The bucket. A metal bucket has been placed under the machine, apparently to catch the results of its processing. As handy as buckets are, it's a bit too big for even your capacious pockets. Now that you're inside the mine, there's no need for the shovel. Too bad, I could have used this when helping Jack clear the rubble outside. If you'd like to obtain a sample from a suitable source, try walking closer to it first. The hopper is covered by a hinged lid. The lid to the hopper is firmly stuck in place. Crime time! A time for crime. Hello, Buckfort. There's no real need to open it. The bucket under the machine has the coarse garnet powder in it, and the ground is littered with discarded garnets and other rocks. There's nothing in the hopper that isn't already easily obtainable. I don't remember how I take a sample. This boulder is chock full of red and white crystals, including a spectacular red crystal. I'm not surprised Crimson was established as a mining town. Right. Can't use. Oh no! You slip and fall into the distant, jagged depths of the mine. Too bad you're not the gumshoe you thought you were. Be more careful next time. Oops, well. Wait, what was that? You can just make out the rim of a giant flywheel. The flywheels appear to operate the internal mechanisms of the machine. In bucket. You look inside the metal bucket. It's 1/3 full of coarsely ground garnet, smaller than gravel but larger than sand. When industrial abrasives are sold, they're ground finer than this. This is the first stage of grinding. An impact crusher will be used to grind these coarse garnets even finer than this. You take some of the coarsely ground garnets out of the bucket and into your pocket. coarsely ground rocks that have been through the jaw crusher. These are most likely garnets. The lantern is lit. It gives off a reassuring glow. There are variations in shapes and sizes in the coarsely ground garnets. Without my loupe, this looks like large rust-colored gravel, but with the loupe, these still look like small, beautiful gems. Oh yeah. Many types of shoe prints cover the floor of the garnet mine, leading in all directions. Oh wait. Most of these were probably made by miners decades ago. I wonder if Nessa and Corvus came this way with Mr. Richards. Oh, there we go. You chip a particularly lovely crystal sample out of the rock. Ooh. The crystal sample you took from the mine's interior is truly spectacular. There's some amazing red and colorless crystal formations. Stunning. While the mine interior sample is pocked with many lovely crystals, the most prominent one is large and red. A healthy-sized garnet, most likely. I think it's even gem quality. It's a real pity that this mine produced industrial abrasives only. It's too pretty to pull for eyes. Aha! Here are some pointy-toed size 14 men's dress shoe prints. And impressions made by size 8 women's shoes. And size 12 men's boots. I recognize this tread pattern from Mr. Richards' other boots. The 3 sets of shoe prints are the freshest after all. Now I need to track these shoe prints and discover where they went next. They didn't head up this path. They kept moving eastwards. Well, let's see if I do go up this way. Okay. Nessa and Corvus didn't go this way. I shouldn't either. The right-hand path seems to lead down a long, narrow corridor. That way doesn't look safe at all. I'm relieved that Nessa and Corvus didn't take Mr. Richards this way. It looks too easy to get stuck between a rock and a hard place. But we did, though. You can see an entranceway framed by wooden beams. I can't see much through there, but it looks even less safe in that area of the mine. More rubble, collapsed beams. Yeek! Oh, this way. Okay. You can see some indications of a path leading downwards into the darkness, as well as to the east. I'm relieved that the shoe prints are leading down the east passage. That path downwards looks very dangerous. Where am I going? Uh-oh. You aimlessly wander the mine until the lantern goes out. You did discover Nessa's, Corvus's, and Mr. Richards' shoe prints, but you didn't discover which way they headed. Oops. Yes, I did. What are you talking about? Okay. Wandering aimlessly seldom ends well. Have a game plan first, or some step-by-step directions. Okay. No, not fingerprints. No fresh shoe prints heading up this path. Back to the main path. The fresh shoe prints head east, deeper into the mine. Nothing but dusty miners' shoe prints down this southern path. Okay. Gee, I'm glad I was able to track Nessa and Corvus down this path. I hope I can find Mr. Richards before it's too late. Uh-oh. Ah! What was that? Despite the terrifying rumbles and shudders surrounding you, you forge onwards. Just as you reach this firelit cavern, your lantern goes out. Oh no, the lantern is out of oil. There's no turning back now. Sign your will, Evan. Oh, look at her hair. She's so messed up. You got a ton of trouble with the shoe print puzzle too. Yeah, it's like, it's really specific in what it wants you to do. Even though like it seems to give you the information and then it's like, no, you don't actually have that information. But I did, you just told me. It's a little finicky. Sign my fake will, you mean? If you're so smart, why didn't you just forge Pa's will? Then you wouldn't have had to come up with this dumb scheme. If you were so smart, you'd know that Pa's lawyer is still alive. He'd pipe up pretty quick if an actual will from his client came out of nowhere. But this is a perfectly suitable backup plan. It's much easier to forge your will. If you do as you're told, I'll let you die quickly. Otherwise, you'll starve to death in the dark. And we'll forge your signature anyway. Nancy's onto you. You won't get away with this. We'll see about that. It'll be her word against ours. I have to rescue Mr. Richards. My first order of business is to distract Corvus. Yes, yeah, I did notice that. Like, where you take, like, 2 steps and look, and it's different, which is really cool, actually. Most games don't do that. They're like, yeah, like, some of the detail in just the programming of this game is really impressive. And even when, like, there are parts where it just kind of, like, it seems odd, where it's like, oh, oops, this response is not supposed to be in this area. It's like, whatever. It's like it's a minor thing in the face of like everything else that went into this. I'm gonna delete some save games. Which I probably should have done before I started, but I didn't realize I was already this close to filling up my list. Use pick on bad guy's eye. Yes, I will do that in a minute. Garnet sandwich. I was just saying there's so little music in this game, and yet here there's a bunch of music in this one part of the game. It's pretty cool. Oops. Well, fine. Bad duds. Make garnet sandwich. Aw. Oh, are you thinking Garnet from Final Fantasy IX? I had the same thought. Pick. Well, I can't. Well, use isn't going to do anything, but use pick on Corvus's eye. Stab Corvus with pick. Oh, you're thinking Steven Universe. Also perfectly valid. Throw pick at Corvus. You start to make a move, but the shadows aren't enough to conceal your actions. What was that? Nancy? Oh! Get her! Corvus ties you up. Oh no! We have to get out of here. Maybe Nancy was followed. Yes, we do. Hungry, brother dearest? Uh-oh. Goodbye, Nessa. Nessa takes a handful of crushed almonds from the table. She then stuffs the almonds in Evan's mouth. Blargle blarg. Nessa, what have you done? I should have done that a long time ago. Goodbye, Nancy. Corvus takes the lantern and follows Nessa out of the cavern. You're left in darkness, listening to Mr. Richards gasp his last breaths. I'm sorry, Mr. Richards. All you can do is wait in the darkness. It feels like an eternity, and then... footsteps? I'm in here! Help! Nancy, is that you, Mr. Richards? Yep. It was established earlier in the game that Evan is allergic to almonds. Yep. And yep. That was that, yep. I think I am indeed on the route to bad end. Fortunately, I saved. Ranger Murdoch! Nancy, Mr. Richards is dead. Let's get you out of here. Even more cyanide, possibly. I wouldn't put it past Nessa. Excuse me. Ranger Murdoch takes out a pocket knife and saws through the ropes that are binding you. Thanks. Corvus got away, and so did Nessa. I'm sorry, I failed. The important thing is you're safe. Come along. I'm sorry, Mr. Richards. Goodbye. Ranger Murdoch leads the way out of the mine. You feel incredibly relieved to be out of the mine. It feels like a great weight has been lifted off your shoulders. Green almonds have cyanide in them. Oh, interesting. So, like, if they're unripe, they do? I know that, what is it? I think it's, like, apricots, I think? Have, like, a really, really, really tiny, like, trace amount of something toxic in them. I forget if it's cyanide or something. I don't think it's cyanide. It might be something else. Maybe it is cyanide. I don't know. Right, yeah, and apple seeds, too. Yeah, like... a really, really tiny amount of something in them. So if you somehow ingest, like, a large amount of apricot seed or apple seed, or, like, I think there might be some other fruits as well, then they could be deadly. But, like, thank you for the follow, Diamond Ovelti. Thank you. But yeah, like, I think it's highly unlikely that anyone would ever actually have enough of that in their system, but theoretically possible, I guess. The automobile is parked down the hill, and there are more rangers waiting for us at the train station. How did everyone get here so quickly? Well, it wasn't quick, actually. I'm not actually a forest ranger. I'm a member of Northwest Mounted Police. We've been on the trail of a German spy and saboteur who is rumored to be in this area. We believe he is responsible for the bombing of the bridge west of Crimson. Albert Respa. Carl L. A man known to us as Carl Leffler. You revealed him, Nancy. Well done. Not only that, you tipped us off to what his next target would be. The Sulaks. Right again. As you know, Canada declared war on Germany a few weeks ago. They did? It appears operatives directed by the German Foreign Office have undertaken a campaign here in Canada to delay military aid to Europe by targeting transportation links such as railways, bridges, and canals. We strongly suspect that Carl L., a man we know as Carl Leffler, is one of those operatives. He has been apprehended at the Sulaks while setting up explosive charges. Almonds and apricots belong to the same genus. Right, that's okay. I had in my head that they were connected somehow, but I couldn't remember exactly. I couldn't remember if that was actually true, if I was making that up. Thank you for confirming that I went off crazy. And thanks to your impeccable detective work, Mr. Leffler will surely be brought to justice. Yeah, and plums, probably other stone fruits as well, I'm guessing. Peaches, etc. Oh, cherries! Okay, that I didn't know. Oh yeah, I guess it makes sense. Cherries are stone fruits. Gee, let's go. Pluots are a thing. Crossbred plums and apricots. Chapter 6 complete. Yeah, but that's not a good chapter 6 complete. Chapter 7 conclusions. The train station is a flurry of activity. Rangers are milling all around, consulting with each other in whispered conversations. Inside, you can hear the non-stop whir and tick of the telegraph machine. The ranger in charge looks up and acknowledges Ranger Murdoch with a nod. Just the man I wanted to see. Thanks to the intelligence you provided, we were able to alert authorities in Sault Saint Marie about the impending sabotage attempt on the Sioux Locks. They were ready and waiting and caught the man red-handed with luggage full of dynamite and blasting caps, not to mention a 9mm Luger in the glove box. Imagine his surprise when they called him by his real name, Karl Leffler, aka Albert Respa, German spy and saboteur. I would have loved to have seen the look on his face. All in all, some mighty fine work, Ranger Murdoch. A crisis has been averted. As much as I'd like to take credit for it, Nancy Maple here is the one you ought to be thanking. She single-handedly figured it out. All I did was pass along the information. Well then, my thanks to you, Nancy Maple. You're a Canadian hero. Thanks. Though I'll warn you now, you might have to be an unsung hero at that. I have a feeling the Canadian government won't want to reveal just how vulnerable we were tonight. It could undermine the public's confidence at a crucial turning point for our country. Oh, I don't mind at all, as long as things worked out for the best. They did, Nancy, truly. Thank you for your service. Now, what have you got here? We've just come from the old abandoned garnet mine. These folks were trying to rescue Mr. Evan Richards, who'd been kidnapped earlier this evening. Unfortunately, Mr. Richards was killed, and the perpetrator Nessa Crab and her accomplice escaped. We'll be aggressively pursuing these fugitives. The charges against them are very serious. We'll use every resource at our disposal. Roger. A busy night? Yes, indeed. Please dispatch some crime scene investigators to the lodge so we can build a strong case. Roger that. I'm heading back down to Toronto now. I need to meet up with some higher-ups immediately. The Northwest Mounted Police has commandeered a train back to the city. I've been told you call Toronto home, Miss Maple. Will you join me? Tomatoes and potatoes belong to the same family. What? I never would have guessed. I guess, actually, I guess it kind of makes sense in some way because potatoes are the root, or the tuber, and tomatoes are the fruit. So, like, theoretically, I guess it could be possible for them to have a plant that does both, but yeah, that's really funny. I didn't know that. I'm exhausted. I don't think I'm up for more traveling tonight, and I'm not ready to leave Crimson just yet. Suit yourself. I'll need to take your statement for the report, but that can wait a day or two. Thank you. I'll need a bit of time to get my thoughts in order. Of course, there's going to be a ton of paperwork to do for this whole caper. I'll be trapped behind the desk for weeks. Do send word when you'll be returning. I'll pick you up from Union Station and escort you straight to the police station. Will do. Thanks, Ranger Murdoch. Nathan drives you and Jack back to the lodge. Margot's death feels like it happened weeks ago, and your arrival in Crimson feels like it happened months ago. And it feels like years ago when you spoke to your boss, Professor Plummer. Ah, my boss, my field work! What am I going to tell him? Despite the excitement of the evening, you find yourself nodding off, only to be jolted awake when Nathan's automobile hits an uneven stretch of road. Eventually, not even the bumpy road can rouse you. Nancy, you awake? We're back. Once Jack has roused you from your deep slumber, you make your way upstairs as quietly as possible, lest you wake Kimi. My goodness, what a night. I've never been so exhausted. Oh yes, I did know about tomatoes belonging to the same family as Nightshade. And yeah, I guess now I know the potatoes do too. That's really funny. Potatoes and Nightshade. You climb into bed and are eager to fall asleep. But as your gaze falls onto the ransacked curio cabinet, you realize there are a few things you may want to bring up with the other inhabitants of the lodge tomorrow morning. I better make some new notes on fresh paper to remind myself. Or I could just decide to go to sleep if I wish. Oh, cool. Did Margot have an accomplice in the ruby brooch theft? No idea. Yes, I suspect someone helped Margot hide the ruby brooch effectively. Who was the accomplice? Don't know. me say Jack. I'm quite sure I'm right about that. Jack and Margot were thick as thieves, literally. Where was the river brooch hidden? Well, I didn't end up finding it, so that's something I'll have to ask Jack about that. That's something I'll have to ask Jack about tomorrow morning. How about that curio cabinet? Who stole the pair of steins? I guess Margot did. Margot's fingerprint was the only one I lifted from the smashed curio cabinet. Plus, she admitted to taking the antique silver wedding steins. That's all pretty clear cut. But she mentioned having help. Who helped with the steins? I don't know. I'm not sure I got that right, but that's my best guess. Who's the imposter? Right. His geology and mineralogy books looked brand new because he'd never once consulted them. They were part of his disguise. That explains why he was examining that glacial erratic. He had no idea that it wouldn't be a good indicator of the geology in the area. Kiwi's true goal. Birds. After everything I've witnessed, I'm pretty certain that Kimi is just a keen birdwatcher who probably had the worst vacation of her life. Everything and anything can look suspicious if you're looking for suspicious activity. Were Evan Richards and Nathan Cardinal friends or enemies? Their conversation at the conservatory indicates that they are similarly aligned when it comes to the fate of the lodge and lands. They also met up in the study after that first dinner. It was hard to tell if they were friendly then, but I did see them shake hands. They respected each other. Nathan was out late at night with Jack, and they were both helping Mr. Richards. I heard them talking about that. I recovered a sample of clear crystals in the salt at the lodge that didn't dissolve in water. I'm pretty sure that that's what Nathan and Jack were trying to hide. And Nathan helped me and Jack try to rescue Mr. Richards tonight. He risked losing his Indian status by revealing himself to Ranger Murdoch after having snuck off the reservation. He's a true friend. Mr. Richards was lucky to have him. What were Jack and Nathan trying to conceal? Diamonds, I guess. It is possible, after all, but so far that is only a hunch based on the samples I've gathered. I'll need to verify my hypothesis when I get back to the museum. I did see Nathan and Jack gathering something shiny from the riverbank, and I recovered this odd salt sample that didn't dissolve in water. These could be diamonds. Where did Jack conceal the suspected diamonds? In the salt. I did recover these clear crystals from the bag of rock salt. If these really are diamonds, the bag of rock salt in the smokehouse would have been the perfect hiding place. Who would guess? Were Margot and Jack having an affair? That's a good question. I'm actually not sure. I'm gonna say no. My gut tells me that they were just friends, but I can't say for sure. I heard them in Margot's boudoir the first night I was at the lodge. It sounded like they were up to something suggestive, but who knows? I prefer to assume the best of people. What items suggest Nessa came to the lodge intending to threaten or harm Evan? Mr. Richards was allergic to almonds, and Nessa knew that. She brought those Jordan almonds with her and filled that cut crystal bowl in the parlor, overt as you please. Nessa wasn't just being a rude guest, she was a bully. Apricots! And that's how she killed her brother. Poor Mr. Richards. You're exhausted and decide to go to sleep after pondering these questions. You wake up the next morning feeling refreshed and ravenous. As you make your way down to the upstairs hallway, you begin to smell the inviting aromas of coffee and bacon. You enter the kitchen and find the other inhabitants gathered around the table, digging into a hearty breakfast. You join in. Morning light is streaming through the small window, causing motes of dust to sparkle and dance in the light. Jack, you helped Margot steal Nessa's ruby brooch, didn't you? Well, I didn't help her steal it. I helped her hide it. I think we're all sick of Nessa's shenanigans. How did you know? I just had a hunch Margot trusted you. She knew you could keep her secrets. Yeah, it was me. I hid the brooch up there in the closet after Nessa and Corvus had ransacked it. After Margot died. I figured it was the last place they'd check if they ever came back to the lodge to take another look. I would have kept it on me, except we were heading to the mine last night to go find Mr. Richards. Who knows what could have happened. I didn't want to get caught with the brooch and charged with theft. Her secrets. Did you hear us in her boudoir that first night? You flush a bit. Yes, I did. That must have sounded odd. But we were just friends, I swear. Margot knew Nessa and Corvus would rummage through her things. Her vanity has a lock, but she suspected that it wasn't secure. In fact, she suspected it had been tampered with already. I kept the brooch in my pocket for a bit, but when we were fixing to head to the garnet mine, I didn't want to bring it with me. So I nipped upstairs to her giant closet and pinned it to the underside of one of her hats, up on one of those mannequin heads. I knew it! I knew it was the hats! I looked at the hats, too. I didn't find it. I wonder what I would have had to do. I examined all the hats, but I didn't find the brooch. Huh. I wonder why not. Maybe I didn't do it at the right time. I figured should Nessa and Corvus return to the lodge, the last place they'd look is somewhere they'd already searched. Kimi, I'm sorry that your birding trip was full of so much drama and tension, but I'm very glad I got to meet you. Thanks so much, Nancy. That's very kind of you. Yes, this is one of the strangest trips I've ever taken. So much unpleasantness and tragedy. But I don't regret coming here. Crimson is a beautiful place. Margot was very kind. Jack and Nathan really helped me feel at home here, despite everything. I liked Mr. Richards, too. He was the quiet type, like me. Sometimes people take that the wrong way. I didn't, not with him. And he loved Crimson. I can see why. And Nancy, I'm very glad I got to meet you, too. You're one of a kind, brave and clever. No matter what happens, I'm sure you'll make your dreams come true. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I'll try my best. Nathan, I have to know. Yes? I have to know, are there diamonds here in Crimson? Nathan and Jack exchanged meaningful looks. I think you and Jack were picking alluvial diamonds out of the riverbank when I saw the two of you last night. I collected a sample from that area. I think Jack hides the little diamonds in the bag of rock salt in the smokehouse. I grabbed a handful of salt and dissolved it in water. Some of the crystals didn't dissolve. Nancy, there are diamonds in Crimson. We have to check the riverbanks regularly for ones that come down the river. Over time, we've managed to extract most of the gems that are in the ground, but soil erosion also reveals them. Every so often, we've got to go looking for more that have appeared. They're easiest to see by moonlight. Evan used to help us. In fact, he used to do it all by himself. Fortunately for us, not many people were around. It was a difficult secret to keep even then. Yeah, until that fish swallowed that whopper of a diamond, and that lucky duck fisherman caught it. Nothing but trouble, that was. My goodness, I see. Nancy, we know that your fieldwork is very important to you, and we certainly can't prevent you from divulging anything you may have discovered here. You can if you kill me! We can only ask you to think about what that news could mean for Crimson. We like it how it is now. I do too. And so did Margot and Mr. Richards. What'll happen now? That'll partially depend on you, Nancy. You all pile into Nathan's automobile. You're touched that Kimi will make the long, arduous trip to see you off. As the automobile trundles away from the lodge, you crane your neck and take one last look. Oh no, I'm definitely gonna go back and play around with stuff. But I'm gonna play through this to the end, to the bad end, and then I'm gonna restore and try to do good end. And try to actually save Mr. Richards. So, no spoilers just yet, but I appreciate you asking. I'm really going to miss this place in spite of everything. You turn and face forward. The rattling of the rough road makes it hard to think. The only coherent thought you manage to have is, what will you tell your boss? And what could that mean for your future? Thank goodness the bridge has been repaired enough to allow trains to cross it again. Repaired enough? Yeah, it is really impressive. You are traveling light, Nancy. I wouldn't be too concerned. Humph. Traveling light thanks to Albert. Okay, Nancy, the train's gonna leave soon. Be well. Oh, but what about you, Kimi? I've talked it over with Jack and Nathan. I think I'll stay on for a bit. It's been so tense here. I want to relax, enjoy the birds, and the fall migration is starting in a few weeks, and the leaves will be changing color. I've promised Jack that I'll help with the lodge chores. I'll earn my keep. That's wonderful news. I wish I could stay longer, too, but I've got to get back to my job in the city. Good luck, Nancy. I'm going to miss you. I'll miss you too, Kimi. Be well. Goodbye, Nancy. Yeah, bye, Nancy. Now go. The train's not going to wait forever. Right. Be pen pals with Kimi. You stare out of the train window. It's a clear, cool morning. As crisp and refreshing as it is this far north, you brace yourself for the muggy summer heat down by Toronto. Your mind is buzzing with all that has transpired over the last few days. It feels like you're returning home from a long voyage. You can't help but wonder, did you miss anything? Did you leave any loose ends? Oh, I absolutely did. Would you like to be privy to some helpful introspective thoughts? Yes or no? Sure, why not? You ponder the thoughts you had the previous night before bed. If I confronted Jack with hard evidence, I might have gotten a confession. What could have happened to the Silver Steins? Maybe if I asked around after Margot's death, folks would feel less protective of her and more talkative. I did ask around. Maybe I just didn't ask the right questions. Albert was an imposter, no question about it. He was definitely not an expert mineralogist. The glacial erratic boulder was not mineralogically relevant to this region. He had no idea. Albert's actions certainly didn't help his mineralogist charade. What about his words? Was there any written proof that he wasn't an expert mineralogist? Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, probably the Telegraph. But I'm not... How would I have gotten more information from that? I'm pretty sure that Nathan was Mr. Richards' friend. But did I miss any important details of his actions? What about that time Jack and Nathan met up in the carriage house? Could there have been a way to listen to them discuss things? Could I have hidden somewhere? Ooh. Well, I did listen to them... Wait, no, I didn't. I listened at the door when the ranger was there, but I didn't... Okay, I didn't even consider the possibility of hiding there. Okay, cool. What if Nathan was trying to preserve and protect the lodge and lands? He might have sought out Albert's help. I should have kept my eyes and ears open for that circumstance. Yeah, that drove me nuts. The fact that I couldn't listen in on what Nathan and Albert were talking about. How would I have done that? Some of the rock salt didn't melt in water. It's definitely not rock salt. But what is it? I really don't think Margot and Jack were having an affair, but I wish I was more convinced about that. I found a small silver key in Margot's pocket. I wonder what it unlocks. I never found out. That also drove me nuts. Maybe it will open something she was keen to conceal. I have a feeling Corvus's satchel contains important information that I've overlooked. Yeah. I never found an opportunity to look in it. I never found Nessa's ruby brooch. I wonder if it was hidden in the lodge. I didn't solve the mystery of the missing silver wedding signs. I do know Margot took them. She admitted as much. But I don't know where the Steins are now. Maybe I should have made some inquiries. Particularly after Margot's death, when perhaps people would no longer feel the need to protect her. So I guess ask about Steins. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I can't think of much else, actually. You turn your attention towards your impending interview with Ranger Murdoch. Here's the list of things you screwed up. Now try again, you plebeian. Here's some leads for your next exciting playthrough, valued player. Yes, much more diplomatic. Yeah, very Laura Bow, which is, the point. As for Margot's death, Ranger Murdoch could have been helpful. I could have told him about my investigation into Margot's death. I never got the chance to talk to him. Maybe Ranger Murdoch could help me figure out Margot's illness if I told him about it. I suspect Margot had been poisoned. Some kind of a sample from Margot could be analyzed to verify that. How would I take a sample from Margot? I'm not going to ice pick her. She's not a rock. Maybe her fingernails? Maybe Margot was killed by something she ate or drank. Perhaps her drinking glass is worth a closer look. Of course. Well, I did look at her drinking glass, but I didn't... Huh, yeah, how would I... Okay, alright. After a good deal of mulling over, you conclude, I think that's all. You fall quickly into a deep, dreamless sleep. You don't awaken until the train pulls into Union Station. Grind her into powder. This isn't an alluvial, Margot. Oh my god, she's made of diamond. Rub Margot on the streak plate. Try her out with rock salt beforehand. You just pack her in salt. We were just talking about lye, I think on last night's stream. How to dispose of a body with Papaya Chemist. The real treasure, the real diamond was the Margot we made along the way. Why dissolves everything organic? Ah, so it wouldn't have dissolved Margot because she's made of diamond. Ranger Murdoch meets you at Union Station as arranged. Ranger Murdoch! Hello, Nancy. It's good to see you again. Would you like me to drive you home to rest? No, thanks. I'm eager to have my interview. Let's go. Right. Follow me. You look over at the wanted posters on the bulletin board and see a familiar face. The face has familiar features, but the expression gives you pause. Oh, it's Margot! It's unmistakably Margot, but she looks scared and angry. And the name is different, too. The Margot you knew was at peace, kind, and caring. You feel fortunate to have met her when you did. The poster lists her offenses as assault, theft, racketeering, public nuisance. Nancy? Sorry, just lost in thought. Ah, yes, that person has been on the most wanted list for a few years now. Skagway was a near lawless place. Sometimes who the criminals were was a matter of public opinion. And sometimes, if you didn't make friends with the right people, you could get stuck with all sorts of trumped-up charges. Does she look familiar to you? No, I don't recognize her. Very well, let's begin. Suddenly, the door burst open to reveal your boss, Professor Plummer. Nancy, there you are. Welcome back. I'd heard the train had come in. Sir, we're in the middle of a confidential interview. My apologies. I won't be a moment. Nancy, what did you find? Are there diamonds in Crimson? I must know. Yes or no? Oh, gosh. Well, since I'm going to be redoing this, and going for the bad end, let's say yes. Yes, Professor Plummer, at least I strongly believe that there are diamonds in Crimson. I've obtained some samples that will need further analysis to verify. Dear girl, give them to me and I'll take them to the museum immediately. You hand all of your samples over to the professor whose eyes light up like a kid at Christmas. Now, Professor, I've witnessed you receiving those samples from Miss Maple here. I'm sure I don't need to be concerned that her name will be forgotten in the excitement. It was Nancy's hard work and her samples, and if these should indeed be diamonds, her credit, yes? Professor Plummer bristles. Why, naturally, I'd be appalled that you might suggest otherwise. Ally, yes. Murdoch, you're a good dude. Good. Good evening, Professor. Humph. Good evening, Officer. And good evening, Nancy. I can hardly contain myself. We'll talk soon. Bye, Professor. Zip! Okay, now let's really begin. Any information you provide will be kept strictly confidential, of course. Thank you, I appreciate it. Nessa Crabbe is wanted in connection with Evan Richards' kidnapping and murder and attempted fraud. After examining the area, we believe Mr. Richards was assaulted at the jetty near the lodge. Do you have any evidence connecting Nessa to the scene at the jetty, yes or no? Yes, I do. What evidence did you find? If there are multiple points to make, we'll discuss them separately. One-word answers will suffice. I found Nessa's fingerprint on a shattered crystal decanter at the jetty. It was made of thick glass. It wouldn't have broken from being tipped over or dropped from carrying height. I think Nessa had a confrontation with Evan on the jetty, during which she forcefully threw the decanter down, causing it to break. Well done, Nancy. Our investigators found that broken decanter and came to a similar conclusion. Did you find anything in areas besides the jetty that would connect Nessa to Evan's kidnapping? Yes or no? Yes. I recovered these hairs from the woods north of the jetty. I'm pretty confident they belong to Nessa. You hand the long gray-brown hairs over to Ranger Murdoch. Wow, our investigators didn't find any hairs. I'll send someone over to take another look. The bulbs of these hairs are intact. That means that they needed to be ripped from the scalp with some force. That definitely implies she was part of a struggle in that area. I'm going to have to keep these hairs, Nancy. Of course. Anything else? Can I look at my inventory? Let's see. Would the almonds count? I found these Jordan almond fragments on the table in the smokehouse. I managed to recover Nessa's fingerprint from one of the candied shells. This is fantastic, Nancy. You placed Nessa in that smokehouse. May I have those? Of course. You give the Jordan almond fragments to Ranger Murdoch. Anything else? Yeah, shoe prints. I found Nessa's shoe prints in the wooded area near the jetty. How do you know that the shoe prints belong to Nessa? I learned the shoe sizes of everyone at the lodge. She's the only one who wears that size and style of shoe. That's some good detective work. I tracked Nessa's shoe prints into the smokehouse. I think that's where she and Corvus temporarily detained Evan until they were ready to take him to the Garnet Mine. I think that's all the information I have about Nessa and the areas around the jetty. Okay, let's move on. We believe Mr. Richards was being held in the lodge's smokehouse before being moved to the Garnet Mine. Did you find any evidence to support our theory regarding his unlawful confinement? Yes or no? I think so. Oh, button? No? Oh yeah, rope. Yes, I found rope fibers on the floor of the smokehouse. I believe he was tied up and then taken away later. We think so too. We found those same rope fibers. All the evidence we can gather will help us build a case against Nessa. How did you figure out that Mr. Richards was taken to the Garnet Mine? I have no idea. If you're not sure, you can just say no or pass. Jam? Okay. Mr. Richards had used the jam from Jack's thumbprint cookies to draw a hidden symbol. The symbol was a red circle surrounded by a round red border. Red. It was raspberry jam. I tasted it. Tasted it. Yes, it was delicious. The symbol even resembles the thumbprint cookies, which I learned are called Hallongrotta in Swedish. Hallongrotta means a raspberry cave in English. And a raspberry cave could be a garnet mine? Exactly! Mr. Richards was talking about the garnet mines at dinner on the night I arrived in Crimson. Okay, that's the logical leap that I wasn't getting. I saw the symbol, but I definitely did not make that connection between the symbol and the garnet mine. That definitely could have been made clearer in dialogue. He said they'd been deserted for years. It was the perfect place for them to hide him. We were able to recover Mr. Richards' body from the mine. The autopsy revealed his airway was swollen and inflamed. Nessa claims his death was accidental, that he choked to death on the Jordan almonds she was trying to feed him. Do you have any knowledge that might contradict her claim? Mr. Richards was allergic to almonds and had been since childhood. It was common knowledge, and Nessa brought Jordan almonds with her when she returned to the lodge. I found shattered pieces of Jordan almonds in the smokehouse where I believe Mr. Richards was briefly held. I managed to recover one of Nessa's fingerprints and the remnants of one of the shiny candy shells. Stellar work, Nancy. Our investigative team didn't find that. What's more, there were more Jordan almond pieces in the cavern where Nessa brought him. There's no doubt in my mind that Nessa brought the Jordan almonds to the lodge, knowing full well how dangerous they were to Mr. Richards. Maybe at first she only planned to intimidate him with them, but in the end, she killed him with them. Let's move on to Corvus Shaw's role in Mr. Richards' kidnapping and murder. Although Mr. Shaw is currently at large, we're making every effort to apprehend him. Do you have any evidence that could connect Corvus to these crimes? Shoe prints? I found Corvus's shoe prints on the jetty in the woods leading away from the jetty and leading into the smokehouse. The shoe prints on the jetty must have been formed when he stepped into the spilt whiskey, and they were still wet. That suggests to me that he was either present during the abduction of Mr. Richards or soon after. Considering the scuff marks I saw on the jetty, Mr. Richards was dragged away with some force. I doubt Nessa, an elderly lady, could have dragged her brother away with that amount of force. That's terrific work, Nancy. Our investigators didn't see any shoe prints on the jetty. They must have dried up before we got there. but now that we know they're there, perhaps some forensic processes will help reveal them. I think Corvus's movements during that time are pretty clear. Very thorough of you. Every bit helps. Button. I found this metal button, which I recovered from outside the smokehouse. I observed Corvus wearing a striped vest with this exact type of button that very same night. If you examine Corvus's clothing, I'm sure you'll find that one of the buttons is missing on one of his vests. We did indeed make note of a missing button, and now we know what happened to it. This is a very good piece of evidence, Nancy. May I have it? Of course. That's all the information I have. Lesser crime. What about any lesser crimes? We suspect Corvus was brought to the lodge by Nessa to commit fraud. Do you know anything that would help us build that case? Yes or no? I don't really have any evidence of that, I don't think. I really do think that Corvus was engaged in fraud, but I don't have any actual proof. Sorry, Ranger Murdoch, I don't think I have anything to contribute to that line of questioning. That's okay, we can move on. And what about Carl Leffler, aka Albert Respa? What can you tell me about him? Rangers apprehended him in the middle of a sabotage attempt on the Sioux Lock, so that's an open and shut case. But we suspect this man is involved in other illegal acts. Do you think you can attribute other criminal activities to him? I think Carl sabotaged the train bridge. On the same strip of telegraph tape that revealed Albert's real name and Deck's target for sabotage, it said, "Well done in crimson." I found a stick of dynamite under his bed. I think it rolled there when he was packing to hurriedly leave the lodge. On the way to the lodge on that first night in Crimson, Jack commented on how heavy Carl's set of luggage was. I know, yeah. Just, whoa! In her mouth, too. Just, whoa! I bet most of Carl's luggage was dedicated to hauling explosives equipment, dynamite, and blasting caps. In fact, I found a tin of blasting caps that Carl left in the lodge as well as a bullet. He was definitely up to no good. Outstanding. Very well done. Gee, thanks. Carl's fingerprint is on this tin of blasting caps. He definitely handled them. Excellent work, Nancy. May I have the tin? It's very compelling evidence. Of course, here you go. Carl knew to store the dynamite separately from the blasting caps. He probably had training with explosives, or at least some prior knowledge. And I'm almost certain that if Rangers search the immediate area around the bridge, they will find discarded luggage, possibly part of the same set with explosives residue inside. This is very helpful information. We originally suspected Leffler of the bridge sabotage, but hadn't thought to search for luggage that matches the set he was carrying when we arrested him at the Sioux Locks. That would be a very compelling connection to make, should we find such an item. Speaking of items, do you happen to have this telegraph tape? I do. Here you go. Thanks, Nancy. Do you have the bullet you discovered? Absolutely. Here it is. If you have something else you'd like to tell me about Leffler, just say so, or say no and I'll ask about something else. Yeah. Nancy's kind of adorable. What else can I... the ticket, the cigar. I found his train ticket stub in one of the jackets he left behind before he fled the lodge. When I saw him on the platform in Crimson, I mentioned that I hadn't seen him on the train. He told me that he'd been in the first-class car, which was a lie. His ticket stub clearly says coach, same as mine and Kimi's. I also remember smelling cigar smoke in the coach car, the same brand that Albert smokes. I vaguely remember a man sitting directly behind Kimi and I for part of the journey up to Crimson. Behind Kimi and me. He was concealed by a newspaper. I never saw his face. I think he overheard me and Kimi talking about Crimson and why we were traveling there. He must have been afraid I'd be able to reveal him as an imposter if I had my field kit, so he got rid of it while me and Kimi were sleeping. Well, Kimi and I were sleeping. I think he tossed my luggage out of the back of the train. That would be the easiest way to dispose of it surreptitiously. He then hid in the neighboring first-class car when it was empty near the end of our journey. Mineralogy school, not English, yep. Very well deduced, Nancy. It just so happens, Rangers found your luggage near the train tracks between Crimson's train station and the previous stop. Yes! Get my field kit back! Oh my goodness, they did? Yes, your name was found on a tag inside. Everything is intact. That's wonderful news. I was afraid I'd have to save up for another field kit. Or, you know, your fucking boss could pay for one for you since it's your job. Your luggage is still an exhibit in the ongoing investigation into Carl Leffler. Yeah, I mean, there was the whole... One of my favorite moments in this game was when she calls out Albert on his not knowing anything about the boulder, and she just goes on and on and on about this, like, rant about exactly why he's on the wrong track. And she just like info dumps on him, and he is just so pissed off at it, and it's great. We found some fingerprints on the inside and outside of the luggage, but we needed to fingerprint you while you're here at the station, so we can separate your prints from those of the suspects. After the case is wrapped up, we'll return your luggage to you, of course. I understand. Thank you, Ranger Murdoch. Do you have the ticket stub you found? If so, may I have it? Of course. Here you go. How about that cigar butt, Nancy? It could prove helpful, too. Certainly. If you have something else you'd like to tell me about Leffler... books? No? Let's see. Other criminal activities... Can I? There's probably something else. But I don't have it. Fingerprints? No. Shoe prints? Field kit? Already covered that. I can't really think of anything else. There's probably something, but I didn't find it. Wait, let me check my notebook. Oh, the report. I saw Carl hand a manila envelope to Nessa during a meeting in the gazebo. She paid him handsomely for it. She said she'd paid for a report that says that there are diamonds in Crimson. He said the report would make her rich, which it certainly would have. I bet she entrusted this field report to Corvus for safekeeping. I wish I had something to show or tell Ranger Murdoch about that. I think that's all I have to share about Carl Leffler. Fair enough. Let's move on to something else. I think that just about wraps everything up, Nancy. You've been helpful, Nancy. I appreciate everything you've shared with me today. What about Margot's death? Nothing at all about her. You've got a keen eye and an even keener mind. Well done. Aw, gee, I'm happy to help. Good night, Nancy. Good night. You head home after completing your interview with Ranger Murdoch and immediately set to work on your field report of Crimson. Professor Plummer is amazed at your exciting discovery. He tells you that Crimson Diamonds will become a national sensation, and so will you. The field report is published by the Royal Canadian Museum and eventually endorsed by the Geological Survey of Canada. Professor Plummer no longer expects you to be a mere clerk. You never become acquainted with the filing system. You are far too busy helping to prepare the museum's upcoming Crimson Diamonds exhibit. You find yourself missing the fresh air, the roaring waterfalls, and rushing rivers of Crimson. You wonder if you'll ever hear about how things are going up there. Until one day... It's bye, Zakid Alexander. Hello. There you are, Nancy. I thought today's newspaper might be of interest to you. You start reading the newspaper. Oh. The main article prominently features a photograph of an extensive pit mining operation. The caption reads, "Here once stood dusty and deserted Crimson Lodge, now a lucrative site of precious gems." Your heart skips a beat when you see your own face staring back at you, with the caption, "Nancy Maple, newly minted Queen of Diamonds." Dude. A tiny article buried deep in the newspaper briefly mentions the regrettable destruction of a cormorant colony in Crimson. No! But such is the price of progress. There's a small article about Nessa Crab. She's considered a fugitive and wanted in connection with her brother's murder and kidnapping and attempted fraud. She's in there somewhere. The article mentions that Nessa's alleged accomplice Corvus Shaw is being charged for his role in Evan's murder and kidnapping, assault, and attempted fraud. You get the feeling that with all the excitement about Crimson Diamonds, the murder of a recluse, and the possibly suspicious death of a woman in the ghost town doesn't much interest the public. There's no mention at all about Carl's attempted sabotage at the Sioux Locks, only that there will be minor delays due to routine maintenance. They probably want to make sure there aren't any more explosive devices in and around the locks. Had Albert succeeded, you shudder to think of it. Kitty! Oh, wait. We need you nearby for interviews and such. There's the car waiting to take you to a fancy hotel. Oh, what about my things? Don't worry about that tomorrow. You've got the day off. We'll send you in a car to pack a bag. Until then, the hotel will provide all. Enjoy. Thanks, Professor. A fancy new automobile is waiting for you outside. It's Ferris suite at the King Edward Hotel, the fanciest part of town. Ooh. Gee. You make your way to the hotel's restaurant. You're starving. Because of the lateness of the hour, you find yourself almost alone in the cavernous room, save for the servers. Uh-oh. I played Dagger of Heaven Raw. I know how this might end. You dine on roast duckling with applesauce, fresh green peas, and chateau potatoes. You finish off with peaches imperial and chamomile tea. After which, you find your way to your luxuriously appointed room, feeling slightly green in the gills. Ugh, I think the food was a bit richer than I'm used to. Aww. You sink into the fancy feather bed. Your churning gut and general sense of unease make it hard to sleep. You stare at the ceiling and wonder if you actually want to be the Queen of Diamonds. Aww. You did a good job with sussing out the motives and actions of the other guests, but you missed the mark on a few things. You scored 16 points out of 24 during your pre-departure ponderings. You performed satisfactorily during your interview with the Ranger, but you could have been more helpful. You scored 15 points out of 19 during your interview with Major Murdoch. You could have done better in your investigation and reporting of Margot's death, but you did your best. You scored 0 points out of 8 for your Margot investigation. Aw, that hurts. Carl Leffler, aka Albert Respo, was tried and found guilty of sabotage of the railway bridge, attempted sabotage of the Sioux Locks, espionage, fraud, theft, and a litany of minor charges. He was incarcerated at Kingston Penitentiary until his death, 12 years later, of a heart attack. The Sioux Locks were patrolled by the Northwest Mounted Police for the duration of the Great War, and no other sabotage attempts were made. Thanks to this vigilance, Canadian supply lines along the Great Lake waterways remained uninterrupted. This played an important part in Commonwealth war efforts and crucially contributed to the Allied victory. Corvus Shaw got away, fleeing to Britain under an assumed name. He continued to commit fraud and other white-collar crimes and enjoyed a long, quiet life of lavish wealth. Not if I have anything to say about it. Margot was buried in the cemetery of a town she'd never been to, because Crimson Cemetery was demolished along with everything else. Aww! Kimi Kishiro was greatly upset by the opening of the pit mine at Crimson and the subsequent destruction of the nesting colony of cormorants and the other wildlife. She went home to Vancouver, never again traveling to the Rockies. Once the government seized the lodge and lands, Jack moved on. He found odd jobs here and there, but never found another place he could call home. Because you revealed the Crimson Diamonds of Crimson, not only was the Evans Lodge and lands seized by the government to help fund the burgeoning war effort, but so was the lands of Nathan Cardinal's family. A gaping open pit mine was created and devastated the area. The Cardinals moved further north and persisted. Nesta Crab was never seen again. It could be that she never made it out of the mine, or that she kept a low profile after her escape. It rankles you that she got away with at least one murder. You find yourself looking over your shoulder often, and you still see her vengeful, firelit face in your nightmares. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting someone, possibly not Nessa herself, but like someone paid by her to come murder me. Because of the huge open pit mining operations that overtook Crimson, Evan Richards couldn't be buried alongside his parents in accordance with his wishes. He was laid to rest many miles away in an unfamiliar town. Some say his restless spirit haunts the cemetery to this day, mourning the demise of both his lady and the home he loved so well. Your discovery of the first diamonds in Canada was big news. You become known as the Queen of Diamonds and are Toronto's brightest new star. That autumn, the Royal Canadian Museum hosted your eagerly awaited exhibit, the Diamonds of Crimson. It garnered international acclaim, media outlets clamor for interviews, and a book deal is brokered. Fame and fortune are yours. Occasionally you come across small news items about the declining cormorant population in northern Ontario, or disputes over land rights or environmentalist protests, but you push those out of your mind. The incredible wealth generated by the newly dug mines in Crimson contributes greatly to the war effort. You're showered with praise and accolades, and even appear on some propaganda posters. Oh God. You find yourself too busy managing your newfound wealth and social status to consider going to school for mineralogy, but you figure you merely took a shortcut to what you really wanted, right? Thanks for playing. Okay, we're not going to let that stand. My thoughts on Margot's death. I mean, I definitely got evidence. Like, I have very clear evidence that she was murdered and that Nessa murdered her. But I never found the opportunity to actually, like, bring that up to anyone. I didn't realize... I didn't think of the right questions, I think. I thought I would have more opportunity to look into that. I didn't realize I was just going to, like, leave and never be able to come back to the lodge. But I think what I'm going to do right now, at least, is I'm going to restore back to the mine and try to at least save Evan if I can. I don't want to restore all the way back to the to after Margot's death, but I'm considering doing that maybe later, like Hero of Shapeir, yay. Maybe I'll do another stream of this game next week where I try to do more of that. I'm not sure. Oh, Wilco Web. Bunch of people I know in these. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing some familiar names in these credits, which is always cool. Oh, Roberta Vaughn, I know her. She's cool. I met her in Adventure X. Taco Adventure, yeah! Oh, Vitriol plays. And Worthy Kids, oh wow. Oh, okay, I was trying to remember, like, wait, where do I know Vitriol plays from? I do know Vitriol, like, I don't know her... Oh, no, yeah, I used to follow her on Twitter. I kind of lost track of her. Huh, I should look her up again, she's cool. Anyway, okay, I'm going to reload to this, at least, and see if I can figure out how to... Okay. Not at the moment. I'd like to think about that some more myself and see if I can figure it out. Okay, distract Corvus. Let's see. Corvus is keeping watch over the proceedings. You won't be able to do anything until you deal with him. You can see a lit lantern set down beside a large boulder. Nessa and Corvus must have brought this lantern and used it to light the fire. Now that the lantern Jack lent me has burned out, this lantern is the only ticket out of here. Use shovel on back of Nessa's head. No, use doesn't work. This game does not like the use, the word use. Nessa's angrily waving a document in Mr. Richards' face. Mr. Richards' eyes widen when he sees you. He gestures with his head to something to the right of him. What is he trying to get me to notice? Something on the table? Or maybe the lantern? An old table was left behind in the cavern. There's some crushed Jordan almond pieces on the tabletop. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely been times in this game when I've been like, why am I not doing this right? When it's just a matter of, like, finding the right wording. And I mean, and that's a really common problem with text parser games anyway, because I grew up on them and, like, I ran into that problem all the time. But that said, this game is really good about figuring out what you mean. The text parser in this game is really robust. A little bit too robust at times. While the fire is a welcome source of light, its flickering and the long shadows it casts lends an air of menace to the scene. What is that, a wheelbarrow? The wheelbarrow has a broken handle and is filled with huge, heavy rocks. Also, another thing that's really cool about the parser and, like, just the way this game is programmed is, like, it's very context sensitive. Like, it really pays attention to where you are, and you can type something very generic, and it will respond appropriately depending on where you are in this scene, which is super cool. Like, I love how the programming of this game has really kind of, like, taken a lot of the, like, problems that older games ran into a lot and has really improved on them. The front brace still looks intact, but this wheelbarrow isn't going anywhere. Is there any situation where an immobile wheelbarrow could be useful? Probably. Oops. Can I wonder if let's see. Oh, nope. I can't go back that way. The lantern is out. Now isn't the time for hiding, it's time to act. Metal wheelbarrow makes a great barbecue grill. You can clearly see Nessos, Corvus's, and Mr. Richard's shoe prints here. No surprise, here they are. You also see tiny bits of rubble, medium-sized plain rocks, and a few giant boulders. Ah, dang it. Okay, good. Shadows aren't enough. So, I think I need to put out the fire or something. How would I do that? Yeah. I mean, I'd much rather you do that than just give me spoilers. It's always better to ask. And I very much appreciate you asking. Wait. No? How the heck am I gonna... Oh, here we go. Okay. This is a pretty good place to conceal myself should Corvus happen to turn his head. Okay, alright. Okay. You pick up a plain rock from the floor. Throw rock at Corvus. Aw, darn, okay. You aren't confident enough in your throwing range and accuracy to attempt that. No. Just throw a rock? Okay. You're in a good place to do something, but be more specific. You're currently carrying a river rock, a glacial rock, some granite, a boulder sample with a lovely red crystal, a plain rock, and that's it. Your pockets are quite full of all sorts of things. Throw Nessa at rock, yes. A relatively plain rock that you acquired from the mine floor. This piece isn't particularly valuable as a sample, but every rock does tell a story. You can see tiny red crystals and even tinier colorless crystals incorporated into the plain rock. Rocks like these are fairly common in this area. It's not exciting, but still instructive. Pile driver Nessa. Sleeper hold Corvus. Yes, time to MacGyver the scene, or, you know, time to adventure game the scene. Find a way to distract Corvus. Can I go over here, maybe? No, no. Aha! Oh, his hair's all messed up, too. That's funny. His glasses are crooked. Mr. Richards looks resigned to his fate. His mouth is set in an obstinate line. You're here to save Evan, not injure him. I doubt I could reach him from here anyway, even to tell him I'm here. Broken handle filled with huge heavy rats. This is really not a good time, Nancy. There's no voice acting in this game. Aw. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, that's... I definitely can see the lantern from over there. Or, yeah. But now that I'm hiding behind this rock, I can't. That's really cool. What I was just saying before about the game being paying really close attention to where you are. She really is. My God. She needs to be stopped. Rubble, boulders. This big boulder will be an ideal hiding spot from which to try distracting Corvus. What if... If I threw something shiny? More specific. Hey, Mr. Gel. Probably something really obvious I'm overlooking. Deal with Corvus. Already picked up a rock. I can't think of anything else. There's nothing I can throw the rock at that'll work. Which makes me think I'm throwing the rock isn't what I have to do, but then why did I pick up this rock? I tried that. Let's try into fire. Nope. The boulder is gigantic. There's no way you could move it. Can I move back? Maybe, yeah. Let's try over here now. Do I have anything else useful? Yeah, I've been looking at my inventory. I'm not sure I do. Well, here's what I've got. I've got this powder, I've got some soot. I've got my loop. I've got my coat. Got my hat. Got newspaper. Got tape. Got my notebook. Got a map. Jordan almonds. A mug. Glass. Garden trowel. I've got a box of flypaper, or formerly box of flypaper. I didn't know that either. Hammer, duck call, plate, what? Oh. Bunch of rocks, ice pick, bunch of fingerprints, got a key, got a jar with flypaper in it. Got another map, got some hair, got some buttons, Jordan almond fragments. I've got a bullet, but no gun. Blasting cap. Oh no, tin of blasting caps because I used the last one. I got ticket, cigar butt, telegraph tape, wire cutters, wire, more rocks, lantern. Yeah, let's see if I can throw the rock at the lantern here. Let's see. Good idea. Nope. And then, no. And then, yeah, if I do anything when I'm not hiding behind the rock, then Corvus notices me. Ah. Load. Move to the rightmost area. I think Corvus notices me if I do that, too. Actually, let's see if I can do this. Oh, God. Oh, good lord. Well, that's also an option. What was that? Just another cave-in. Well, I found the death, so that's good. Between a rock and a hard place. You're stuck behind a wall of rubble. No one can hear your cries for help. Let's see if I can throw a rock from here. Oh, okay. Maybe I can do this. Yeah, maybe I can do it from here. Nope. Nope, and then he sees me. Dang it. Yeah. A whole ass cave-in. He's like, whatever. So I think whatever I have to do it from behind this boulder. Because if I do it from anywhere else, he notices me. I tried that. Nope. No, not the telegraph. No, it's okay. No worries. All suggestions are good suggestions. Trigger a cave-in with a rock. Oh, actually, that might be a good idea. Into passage? Oh! You throw the plain rock down the passage. Oh, you might be onto something. Okay, alright. Well, it didn't trigger the cave-in, but... What was that? Someone coming from the middle passage? I thought I heard something too. I'll take a look. Yes! Oh, and then it drops him! Eat it, Corvus. Corvus, what have you done? You oaf! Either Corvus is inaudible behind the pile of rubble or unable to reply. Eek! I didn't expect that to happen. I just wanted to create a distraction. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Corvus? Let's see if I can free Mr. Richards while Ness is preoccupied. 2 against 1 sounds like better odds. Maybe we can turn the tables on her until Jack arrives with help. You better be digging as hard as I am, Corvus. You always mess things up. Nessa continues to paw ineffectually through the rubble while chastising Corvus. Yes, absolutely safe. Shove Nessa. Aw. Push Nessa. Kick Nessa. Hi, Nessa. Gotcha. Nessa ties you up. How? Oh, come on. I can easily overwhelm... She's like 3 times my age. Yeah. You may have friends arriving soon, eh? I won't be lingering then. Any last words, brother dearest? Not for you. And then she kills him anyway. Blah. Okay. Anyway. Give me that. Nancy? Aw, dang it. Okay. What are you doing here? You just don't know when to quit, do you? When I get over there, you'll wish you'd never meddled. Stop! Come any closer and I'll throw this lantern over the edge. You need the light just as much as we do. No one can leave this cavern without it. Jack will be along shortly. It's over, Nessa. You! Whoa, her face! You can try getting away, but my dear little brother certainly can't. Don't come any closer. Stay where you are. You're trying to tell me what to do? How dare you? Why did you ever set foot in Crimson? Why? If it hadn't been for you... Nessa is so overwrought she can barely speak. Nessa stamps her foot angrily. Oh no. You! You're ruining everything! Yeah. And then she kills us all. All of my planning. All that I've done. Old ladies are all wiry and violent. It's true. Undone by you? You meddlesome slip of a girl. Nessa, be careful. Don't tell me what to do. How dare you? Nessa pulls a knife out of her skirt pocket. You'll never leave here alive. Watch out. I said, don't tell me what to do. Oh no. The whole mine gives a great shudder and part of the floor gives away. Nancy! Nessa clings desperately to the edge of a now yawning chasm which has already swallowed her knife. Ah! Nessa? Do you hear me? Do you think you've won? Dumb luck is all it is. Ah! Nessa! Oop. Oh crap, I accidentally... What? Oh. I won't stop until Crimson is a hole in the ground and I'm as wealthy as a sultan. You wretched girl, always ruining everything. Save Nessa? Nessa's face is twisted into a firelit contortion of hatred and spite. Her uppity facade has fallen away to reveal her foul nature. Evan doesn't deserve those diamonds. Once I get out of here, the world will know about them and I'll be rich. Nancy! Ah! Well, I suppose that's that. Mr. Richard stares for a little while at the edge of the chasm. He then turns his head towards you. His expression is unreadable. Help me out of these ropes, will you? Yes, sir. Now that you can take your time, you're able to eventually free Mr. Richards from his bonds. Thanks, Nancy. Now what? I suppose we try to find our way out of here. Just shoe to the forehead. Sounds good to me. Lead the way. Right. Wait, do you hear that? Hear what? We're in here! Help! Nancy, is that you, Mr. Richards? Ranger Murdoch. Oh, Corvus is trapped behind that rubble in the middle passageway. We should probably get him out. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to skip past this and we're going to reload because I think the good thing to do would be to save Nessa. Hold on. First, oh, wait. Wait a minute. No. Can I do this? There we go. You frantically try to untie Mr. Richards' bonds, but you fail. Oh, okay. Toss. You take the crushed Jordan almonds from the tabletop and throw them over the edge into the darkness. I won't let these endanger Mr. Richard's life. I've got you, dearie. Oh, Nessa ties you up tightly with a length of rope and sits you down beside your brother. Oh, interesting, okay. You think you're clever, girl? You think you've saved my dear brother by throwing away the crushed Jordan almonds? You've just doomed the both of you to a slow, agonizing death. I don't need Evan's real signature to get Crimson Lodge in his lands. It was merely a formality. A certain nosy wannabe sleuth is now tied up in a forgotten, abandoned mine. So thank you, Nancy. You were a loose end that could have caused me no end of trouble. I can forge Evan's signature easily enough. Who will the courts believe? My word with an official-looking signed document, or Nathan Cardinal's? I'm not about to wait around for any of your friends to show up. Nessa picks up the lantern and gives you and Evan one last look. Goodbye. Enjoy slowly starving to death. So, Nancy, know any good jokes? Why didn't Nessa kill us with her knife? I don't know. Why didn't Nessa kill us with her knife? Mr. Richards, I'm being serious. Yeah, that's what I did the first time. I took the lantern. Oh, she doesn't have a stomach for physical violence. The sight of blood makes her faint. You didn't see her threatening me with that knife, did you? I wish you'd told me that while she was tying me up. Oh, right. Sorry. That's okay. I'll do it again. Because I like that ending better. You tell Evan that help may arrive at any time, though you have your doubts. Could Jack find you in the darkness? He'd have to wait for someone to bring another lantern. Evan regales you with stories from Crimson back when he was a boy. You're happy for the distraction. His voice gets huskier as the hours pass. Eventually, he resorts to quietly humming snatches of old folk tunes. You join in when you know the song. It's a nice way to pass the time. Oh, do you hear that? Not us. Not us. Okay, cool. So we saved Richard, or we saved Evan that time, which is good. But I'm gonna go back and do that again, and this time we're gonna get the lantern. Okay, so toss the almonds away. And then we're gonna get the lantern. Yoink! Okay. Stop! Come any closer and I'll throw this lantern over the edge. Excuse me. Yeah. I'm really surprised that this cave-in doesn't just kill us all. I wonder what the point of the wheelbarrow is, too. I feel like that's significant somehow. Ah! You will never get ahead in the real world. You're too soft. Paragon run. Fool! What happens to nice girls, do you think? You're a doormat, and I wouldn't even bother wiping my shoes on you. Nessa can't hear you above the sound of her own screeching. Yeah, just... Hmm. Oh, Nessa, do be quiet for once. Nessa gasped for breath, recovering from her near-death experience. Humph. You're stronger than you look. Thanks. Humph. I wonder if I could safely secure Nessa. I need to do something before I start standing up, or else she might run off. I don't have any rope, do I? Tie her up with her own hair. Stab my ice pick through her hand to pin her to the ground. Let's see. Nessa's trying to collect herself after her near-death experience. Wait, what? Say that again? She's catching her breath and looks like she'll be standing up at any moment. You make a move to get up, but Nessa beats you to it. Your legs are still a little bit shaky. Okay. Hey. As Nessa steps over you, she glances over at you and mutters something. You can't discern what she says. I'm not waiting around for your friends to get here. I'm taking this lantern and I'm leaving. Good. Never come back. Humph. Ooh. Cut yourself, because she'd faint at the sight of blood. I kind of doubt that'll work, but that's a good idea. You start moving to follow Nessa, but Mr. Richards calls out to you. Let her go, Nancy. Don't leave me here alone. Okay, I won't. Ah, oh god. Eek! Do you think that cave-in got her? It doesn't matter. We're safe for now. Right. You managed to untie Mr. Richards now that you have all the time in the world. You and Mr. Richards wait quietly in the cavern. You're too spent to think of anything much to say. The only light now is the fire, and you have no way to bring it along with you. There isn't anything here to fashion an improvised torch, either. All you can do is wait and hope. Sometimes the cavern shakes and quakes, and you wonder if you'll die without even knowing it. Eventually, you hear voices and footfalls. Okay, so there's gotta be a way to untie Evan. Wire cutters? Wire cutters. Yes! Using the wire cutters, you start cutting the ropes that are binding Mr. Richards. But the hempen rope is tough, and you don't make much progress when Nessa notices you. Okay. Oops, not that. Can I do that and... cut the rope. Oh, yep, nope. Okay, maybe I just have to cut the rope both times. Bleed on her, yeah. Let's try again. No. Well, that's driving me nuts. Let me try, let me try bleeding on her. Yes, please, yes. Give me a guess, yes. Yeah, let me see if I can bleed on her. I doubt it, but I'm gonna try it anyway, because it's a good idea. Cut hand. Cut Nessa. Yeah, I don't think I can do that. I tried that, yeah. Cut self. Pin her into the wheelbarrow. Maybe. Let's try it. Like, push wheelbarrow, maybe? I can't move it. I can't use. This game refuses to let me use the word use because... And a very clever, like, kind of middle finger to, like, every other adventure game. No, used is not a valid verb. Be more specific. Which I love, honestly. Cut finger with wire cutter. Nope. No. Ask Nessa about Loom. Well, there are definitely some questions you'd like to ask Nessa. Now isn't the time. I don't think it's a good idea to draw attention to myself right now. Your brain is bursting with questions, but this isn't the time to ask them. The latest graphical adventure masterpiece by Brian Mortier. I don't know the full speech. You'll have to ask Dolls Nostalgic for that. Okay, so what was your guess about how to actually get Evan out of the ropes, or whatever your guess was? This is not a good time to be asking questions. Actions are required. Oh, it's the wheelbarrow thing. Okay. Tip wheelbarrow? You doubt that you have the strength to do that. Doesn't look like it would help the situation anyway. Unscrew something on the wheel. Yeah, like the handle maybe? Broken handle. Front brace still looks intact. Nope. Push Nessa into fire. Yeah, that's why I think the wheelbarrow is important. Because usually, if yeah, you're exactly right. Because if she does that, then that usually means she's trying to draw your attention to it. That usually means you can do something with it. But if there is, I don't know what it might be. Is there any situation where an immobile wheelbarrow could be useful? Yeah, like I'm thinking I have to tie Nessa to the wheelbarrow, but I need something to tie her with, and I don't have anything to tie her with. See, annoyingly, I had a rope earlier in the game, but I used it and the game wouldn't let me pick it back up. Can I... Ooh, wait. Tie her with the wire? Ah, dang it. Okay. The huge reel of wire is far too cumbersome to use in this moment. You need something smaller and faster to deploy. Uh-oh. I'm not sure if I have what I need to do this. Maybe I could have taken something from the lodge before leaving. Damn it! What? Like what? What could I have taken? Yeah, man. Welp, that probably means I'm screwed and I can't actually seduce Nessa. No thanks. Okay. You know what? In that case, fine. You know what's going to happen instead? We're going to let her fall. Because I refuse to let her walk away scot-free. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll just do this. Oh, good question. Can I hide under the table? Oh, that's a good question. Let me try that. No. Dang it. Yeah, that... I really wish that would have worked. That would have been such a good idea. Okay. You know what I might do, actually? Oh, I don't know. I kind of... It seems silly to, like, do a whole other stream of this game just to, like, restore back... I still kind of want to, because I don't like the fact that I left Margot's death completely, like, undealt with. But, okay, here's what I'm going to do, at least. Okay, you know what? I am going to do that. I'm going to... We're gonna stick with the bad ending for now, but I think I'm going to do one more stream of this game next week. We'll continue with this path and get as good an ending as I can get based on my current situation, and then I think what I'm going to do is restore to earlier in the game and see if I can uncover some more stuff. And I'm going to try to not spoil myself. Stream paused on you? It's still... I mean, I have my cursor up here, but... Yeah, I mean, I did do a lot of mineralogy. I did as much mineralogy as I could find. Yeah, okay, so I think I'm gonna end here, but we're gonna continue next week, and I'm gonna kind of mess around in this game a little bit more before I move on to another game. Yeah, and then after that, I guess I will figure out what I'm gonna play next on Wednesdays, because this game was super fun. I loved it, and I had a lot of fun with it. And oh my god, there's so much to do. This is definitely a multiple playthroughs game to try and find everything. Really, like, in fine form with, like, the vibe of, you know, the Laura Bow games, which is, you know, the point. Yes, my normal schedule is Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. I play different games on those days. So Wednesdays, I'm currently playing Crimson Diamond. Tuesdays, I'm currently playing Paradigm. I'm kind of doubling up on adventure games, which is not what I usually do, but yeah, it worked out this time. Tuesdays, basically what I do is I'll just like pick some random games and have chat vote on what I play, and Wednesdays, I just kind of decide for myself. I'll just like, here's what I feel like streaming right now. But if I can't think of anything, then I might let chat vote on that too, or take suggestions or whatever. But yeah, so we'll probably do one more stream of this, and more Paradigm next week. Is there anybody playing anything good? Wow, there's like nobody streaming tonight. Then I will not really rate anybody. Okay, then I'll just sign off for now. Also, again, I forgot to upload last week's streams to YouTube, so I gotta do that. I will do that right now after I sign off, so I don't keep forgetting. But yeah, thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you for the follow. I'm sorry, I'm gonna mispronounce your name again, Diamond Novelty. And yeah, we'll return to this next Wednesday, and then more Paradigm on Tuesday. Oh, Dime Novelty. I gotcha. Okay. Sorry, I was not parsing your name correctly. Thank you for correcting me. I love to actually like get people's names right. People call me Papa Ya Chemist a lot, which is hilarious, and they just call me Papa for short, which is not correct, but it makes me laugh. Anyway, Big Papa Chemist. That's me. That's a good one. Right. So yes, again, thank you. Yeah, Papa Yakimist. I'm no one's Papa that I'm aware of. Yeah, so again, thank you for coming, and I had fun tonight, and I hope you did too, and I will see you next week. Good night, everybody. Take care. Bye.